right, thanks, Gwen. I will we'll definitely take it to the board, to the name change. We're new to the market, so it's still possible, and it kind of still fits the ticker, so I think I like that, Corey. All right, so the introduction to Corey. First of all, we'll be making forward-looking statements. I'm going to go through the very high levels of this company. We have a portfolio of assets, so it's kind of hard to talk about one asset in 10 minutes, let alone four. So I'd encourage you to come out if you're interested at all, and we'll chat out by the table at one of the breaks or come to the Q&A session. So why invest in Corey? Well, first of all, we have 5 million ounces of gold resources in a company, valued at about 35 million Canadian, which in my little scribble math before I came up here was about $5 US an ounce, which is, you'll see later in some of the charts, is sort of far under peer valuation. And I think that today is largely a result of being new to the market. We only IPO'd in November of last year into a market where, quite frankly, nobody cared. We spent the first 6 months sourcing financing for the company, and I'll talk about some of the exciting results we've had on that front. We're currently 47% insider owned. We are all large shareholders of this company, and we are fully aligned with delivering shareholder value with the capital we've raised. We have raised $7 million in strategic investments recently. We have Macquarie Bank that's come in for $4 million to fund the project that we have that's ready to permit. It's a heap leach project in California. And then Eric Sprott just closed last week $3 million to help fund the exploration portfolio, which is great because we'll be able to generate drill results, test some of the great targets we have on the exploration portfolio as we permit a project in the background and hopefully create a whop load of shareholder value in the process. We're experienced in management and board. I just recently came out of Nevsun Resources, which was taken out by Zijin for $1.9 billion in December of last year. I looked around and said, I think the best thing for me to go into a base metal story, thought a little bit about where we are in the metal cycle and said, no, that's not the right thing. I think I need to be in precious metals. And I was fortunate enough to meet the founders of this company that had picked up a whole portfolio of gold assets at the absolute bottom of the market. So we stand to very early in the stages of developing a lot of shareholder value through working the assets. We also are heavily de-risked. By our calculations, the companies that have worked this asset portfolio before have dumped about $75 million into the ground. That has given us a lot of data to go and target our drill holes and advance our assets with low-risk, early-stage money. Why gold? I'm sure you've heard a lot about that. I picked gold because, well, a lot of people have been telling the story for a long time. I just picked these two quotes out of two very different sources. One from The Economist, not exactly known for its wild speculation, and one from Sprott, known for his wild speculation, both basically saying the same thing, that gold is set for many movement in the price due to a lot of reasons, which I won't go into because the experts can tell you more about that. But I know personally I chose to put a lot of my wealth and future into a gold company. We've got the 5 million ounces, and be very clear, that's spread across 3 projects. We have 2.2 million ounces, and that's still a historic resource from Glamis, who did a reserve on that project way back in 1996. We're currently in the process of updating the 43-101, so that will be a compliant resource probably in about a week or so. We also have Long Valley, which is another 2 million ounces of oxide. That's also in California, and 0.8 million ounces up in the Caribou, part of the Golden Triangle in British Columbia. Share structure, very, very tight share structure. We have almost 50% with board and management, 34% public float, and I said those 2 major shareholders have 11 and 5% respectively. Not a lot of warrants. The warrants are at 75 cents. And not a lot of old disgruntled shareholders to sell, so it's very, very tough to get stock. But if you're interested in positions, please reach out for the company. We do know most of the current shareholders, and if we have any blocks, we'll certainly be willing to try and source stock for you. We're undervalued, I think largely, as I said, because it's a new story. This was something that Raymond James, who's one of the analysts, were trying to entice into covering the company. Sort of put together this list of a whole bunch of explorers and developers. Core, and this doesn't even include the resource coming out next week on the Imperial project, the historic resource. And their numbers, $8 an ounce, far under what any peer would expect to be valued under any logic. We also have the ability to do a PEA on our Imperial project. It is a fully de-risked project with all the technical work done, tens of thousands of meters of drilling. If we do that, we could also be valued on a PNAV basis, which, similar to Gwen's theory on one of the other companies, gives a really, really strong valuation point that should point to a much higher value for the company. James Hines is the executive chair of the company and founder. He owns about 35% of the stock personally. He's a very successful businessman from the aggregates business, not very well known in the mining business, but generated a lot of wealth looking for aggregates up in the oil sands region of Alberta. Myself, formerly of Nevsun Resources and a process engineer that's been in the mining business for over 25 years. CFO is Jessica Vanderacker. She's experienced CFO. We have 4 other directors. Adrian Rothwell is another founder of the company. He's an ex-Goldcorp executive that helped put together this great portfolio. And then we got Harry, Don, and Brendan, all who I had down on site, just got back 2 days ago from a strategic offsite, trying to figure out how to best utilize Eric's money across the portfolio. So that portfolio includes these 4 projects: Imperial, Long Valley, Gold Creek, and Fraser Gould. I do not have enough time to tell you about how excited we are about these various projects, but I will dive a little bit into a couple of them in the 3 minutes and 30 seconds I have left. Imperial is a technically de-risked project on infrastructure. It's located about 10 miles from the Mesquite mine, which is a large, long tenured operating gold mine currently owned by Equinox Resources. Originally discovered by Goldfields about 25 years ago, it's produced almost 9 million ounces of gold in a 13 million ounce deposit. There's also, if you went off this map the other direction, another 10 miles, there's something called the Picacho mine, which is one of the original Glamis mines back in the day. That produced 1 million ounces, and we're right on trend between those 2 mines. So you're in a mining region. It is a part of California where there is an existing operation, and a lot of their economic value and taxes comes from mining. So we believe we can actually get through the challenging California permitting process, but that is not without risk. Imperial is a very simple oxide gold deposit with some really nice high-grade components that'll be on the pads early, generating gold. We are going to put out a PEA eventually on this project, but it should be noted that that will trigger a $1 million payment to the vendor, which was Goldcorp, now Newmont. And we're going to go out and engage with them and see if we can get them to take shares so that we can get a PEA out in the market in the near term. But if we don't, we're just going to go out and start the permitting regardless and work on the exploration portfolio. First, and probably our most exciting project in the exploration portfolio is Long Valley. Long Valley is a 1.8 million ounce oxide deposit, heap leachable, taken right through to PFS by Royal Gold, back when Royal Gold was actually a gold mining company. However, in this part of California, it would be a very challenging small project to permit, and we believe we're sitting on the top of a fully intact epithermal deposit. So our theory, the reason we think we can generate value on this project is by looking for the high-grade sulfides that are underneath this low-grade oxide deposit. There's all the signs that we're way, way up on above the boiling zone in this project. And we have holes that end in 5, 6, 7 grams, because back in the day, Royal Gold was only interested in oxide. They just pounded down RC holes. As soon as they hit sulfides, they stopped. They didn't care about the grade. So it looks like there's some really nice evidence, both geophysically and in the drill holes, of some high-grade underground material, which I think would be a project you could permit in this part of California. So really an exploration story, but one with a lot of meat on the bones. Next project, sort of in our priority list, is Fraser Gould. Fraser Gould had a lot of work done on it in 2006 and 7 by a company called Eureka. Eureka, typical to those days, was just pounding holes in the ground to get intercepts and then raising more money. There was no real thought about what they were drilling. And they drilled out about 1 million ounces of uneconomic 0.8 grams on a very nice looking gold trend and ran out of money and just stopped. So we believe there's some structural reinterpretation. They've got some intercepts in this deposit in the hundreds of grams, 10 meters of 30 grams. And we believe there's a way to structurally reinterpret that and target down plunge of the actual host structure. And that's one of the reasons that Eric put his money in. So we're going to go out and do some drill testing on that before the snow flies this year, if we can get our permits. And then we've got another project that if you want to know about it, you got to come see me at the booth. And that one's also in the Caribou region, right next to Spanish Mountain, 6 million ounces. And we're quite excited about that, but we don't plan to fund any project work on that in the near term. That's it. I have 7 seconds left, so any questions, come see me. Cheers.